Welcome to Cut the COVID Crap Part 73. How to prove that ineffective vaccinations are effective. So, I'm going to prove that ineffective vaccinations are effective. I'll try to explain it with a simple example. What should we do to prove it?
I don't know, an RCT or randomized control trial?
Sure? Yeah. So we're going to do an RCT with 100 people in the vaccinated group and 100 people in the placebo group, right?
Okay.
To make it easy. So the vaccinated group gets a non-working injection, like saline, and the placebo group gets either the same thing or nothing, doesn't matter, it doesn't work. Now we make the assumption that half the population has got COVID before already and is naturally immune, so they don't get infected with COVID anymore. This 50% is not crucial, and even if there are breakthrough infection, it's not crucial either. You'll find it out later. So we're going to study what happens 1 month after the vaccination, assuming that the rate at which people get COVID, the ones that didn't have COVID before, is 1% per week. So the 1% is not crucial, it's just an easy number to work with. So let's study the placebo group first. How many people do we have again?
100?
100, yep. And half of them had COVID before and won't get infected anymore, right?
So that leaves 50.
That leaves 50. So they get infected with a rate of 1% per week. So how many people get COVID after 1 month then?
Well, 4 weeks in a month, more or less.
Yeah.
So 2 people.
2 people, yeah. 50, 1% times 4 weeks. So all of that's 2 out of a total of 100, which is what percentage of the control group?
2%.
2%. Okay, now let's look at the vaccinated group. Again, 100 people. Again, 50 of them had COVID before and won't get infected anymore.
Okay.
But now for the group that has not had COVID before, we're going to do something that is very common but sneaky. We only consider people to be vaccinated 2 weeks after the vaccination, because in the first 2 weeks it has not kicked in yet. That's what
Makes no sense.
That's what they normally do, and this is how we can prove that it has a lot of influence. So remember that we had 2 infections, right, for that vaccinated group.
Yeah.
That happened naturally. So out of those 2 in a month, how many will take place in the first 2 weeks, and how many in the second 2 weeks?
Well, roughly 1 each,
Yeah.
I guess.
1 each on average. So that one that is infected in the first 2 weeks, he is not considered vaccinated, so he may have been getting COVID, depending on the not sure if it's due to the vaccination or whatever. So what do they usually do? They exclude that observation from the trial. They can do even more sneaky and say, like, this is a not vaccinated person, so he put him in the other group. But the most neutral thing to do is to exclude him from the trial. So that leaves how many people?
1.
That leaves only one person who got COVID, and out of how many?
100.
Minus the one observation that we took out.
99.
So what's the percentage?
Roughly 1%.
Roughly 1%. So we had 2% in the control group and 1% in the vaccinated group. Hooray! So what efficacy do we have?
50%.
50%. Yeah. So there you go. It's proven that with this research that a vaccination that totally doesn't work has a 50% efficacy, just because we say that the vaccination doesn't kick in until 2 weeks after getting the jab.
Okay.
And if you do exactly the same thing, but take a look at the 3 months time period, then you get doing the same sort of calculation.
Then you do get a 6% in the unvaccinated.
Yeah.
And a 5% roughly in the vaccinated.
Yeah, which means an efficacy of how much?
Around 17%.
Around 17%. Hey, there you go. So we have an efficacy of 50% to start with, but it wanes after a couple of months to like 17%. That sounds familiar, right?
Yeah.
That sounds familiar. We've seen research like that before. Hmm. Now, feel free to use different percentages and different infection rates and different. Yeah, turn it off, please. Yeah, different breakthrough rates, and you'll get similar positive efficacy for something that totally doesn't work. There you go. Easy to manipulate research. So, congratulations, you passed the test. You can now work for Pfizer.
Yay.